UB Group and Kingfisher Airlines chairman Vijay was in New York addressing an audience at the Asia Society, where he talked about India's rising consumerism, as well as some of his business successes and things that he regrets. Here's what he had to say.
Vijay had a market share of 48%. When you try and take on a big market leader, you better know what you're doing. Then how do we take on the loyal jet customer, who probably had millions of air miles and everything else to keep him there? We went into the mind of the Indian consumer. Indians love entertainment, even for 1 minute. That is why Bollywood is so relevant to India. Hollywood is not as relevant to America. But if you're a Shah Rukh Khan fan, you want to see that Shah Rukh Khan once, even for a fleeting moment. And so we decided for the first time in India to put in-flight entertainment in the back of each seat, a TV screen with entertainment. My good friend Naresh Goel of Jet Airways immediately made a statement saying I didn't know anything about the airline business. It was a big mistake. In 1 year's time, Jet Airways started retrofitting their own fleet, putting in IFE. Because the kids loved it so much, they insisted on the parents they only want to fly Kingfisher. I launched 27 years ago McDowell's Pizza King. It was before its time. And I'm the first one to acknowledge that I haven't done everything right. I've made my mistakes and paid for them as well. But that's part of the learning process. If you don't take a chance, you're never going to get there. And that's my philosophy. I launched McDowell's Pizza King. And it failed. Cut a long story short. Today, 2 of the top 5 busiest Domino pizza outlets in the world are in India. If I had stuck with this business, it could have been anything. But then, I'm just telling you how times changed. We, with all our understanding of the Indian consumer, the market, etc., we launched it and couldn't make a success of it. But today, it's a huge business. When you look at Louis Vuitton, which was launched in India by a dear friend of mine, Tikka Shatujit Singh, I was quite skeptical. I mean, I've always been bullish on India and bullish on the sort of evolving Indian young consumer and his ability and willingness to spend. But I said to myself, Louis Vuitton is so premium that it's at least 5, 7, 10 times more expensive than anything else available in India. Who's going to buy it? And then he chose probably the most expensive piece of real estate in the Oberoi Hotel in Delhi and said, that's where my store is going to be. And I said, Tikka, good luck to you. That store is today grossing the highest sale of any Louis Vuitton in the world. I'm shocked. Even an optimist like me is shocked. But there you are. That is the spending power. Kingfisher Airlines is created also through the merger or the acquisition of Air Deccan, which was a pure, what they call, low-fare airline. So we rebranded Deccan as Kingfisher Airline. The Kingfisher airplanes are 2 classes of airplanes typically, with a business first, which we brand Kingfisher first, and a normal coach class, which we call Kingfisher class. But our coach class is a little bit more generous in terms of language and stuff. And so contrary to all the reports and the belief that India is a low-cost or low-fare airline market, we are seeing in this growth phase more demand for our Kingfisher class, which is premium economy or premium coach, than we are seeing for the actual low-fare product. So that tells you something. Second point I want to use is the Nano. The Nano was a much touted, brilliant achievement by the Tata Group, which is a car for $2,500, $3,000. But if you look at the sales of the Nano, people are not buying the $3,000 basic Nano. They're buying the $5,000 Nano, which is fully loaded with all the options. People want air conditioning and electric windows and God knows what not. But so if it was therefore that price sensitive and that price driven, like it was 25 or 30 years ago when the Maruti 800 came out, And people would be buying the cheapest possible, upgrading from a scooter or to the car. But they're actually buying a Nano with a lot of options and are prepared to pay more. Third thing is generally look at the automobile industry in India, 34% growth, and more significantly, look at the slew of new model introductions. I mean, these are all mid to luxury cars. These are not the cheap and cheerful cars. They sell it with this kind of money. Take the case of clothing from the usual roadside tailor. Today you're moving towards the canales and all these sort of fancy Italian ready-made, ready-to-wear suits. So it's a whole evolving, Western-oriented consumer environment that we're looking at. First thing is that the Indian regulatory environment will never probably be as open and free as the US environment. One of the key reasons for what happened in 2008 was probably because of very fancy financial products that were being offered in the financial markets here, which India will never permit. The third thing is when you talk about overspending, people having 2, 3, multiple homes, having multiple mortgages on the same property, all of which doesn't happen in India. So to that extent, we are already protected. You know, I mean, we can if we want, but now that we are into one world, we will be fully integrated. You know, we have American Airlines and British Airways to carry our guests across the country to multiple US cities. We'll never be able to fly to as many cities in the US as they fly to from, let's say, London, which is our point. So in one world it worked very well for us because A, we have the largest single Indian network to go anywhere. We have over 350 flights a day. And then we go up to London from Bombay, Delhi, and then British Airways or American take them into Europe or across the world. We go to Hong Kong, and Cathay Pacific and Dragon Air take them all into China, Korea, Taiwan, as well as the Pacific West Coast. And we go to Singapore every day, and Qantas then flies almost to Australia. So this one world is pretty strategic for us and covers the world well. There's got to be a compelling case as to why we should use our own metal to fly here, rather than take advantage of this alliance. That's why the alliance was formed in the first place. When I was with Richard the other day, I told him Mallya of the UK. We did everything for a purpose, identifying an opportunity that we could exploit. We are not the type of people who just go around the world buying things for the sake of buying things to be known as global. Because our own Indian market gives us so much opportunity.